Hi everyone, thanks for clicking on the video. This one's going to be all about the battery bank or power station unit that I just recently bought. So if you're not into that, you're not going to hurt my feelings if you skip this video, but at the same time, why don't you stick around? It's only about 15 minutes. You might see something interesting, or you might be able to provide me with some comments and some feedback on something I show or do. But as always, I put my disclaimer out there when I do this type of video that this isn't meant to be an instructional do-it-yourself video. It's not really a product review. It's certainly not a product endorsement. This BLUETTI unit that I'll talk about here in a minute or two, you know, it might not be a good product. There might be better, there might be worse. Basically, my video and my channel is just about what's going on in my life and why it's going on. So stick around, enjoy. Hi everyone. If any of you saw a recent video, I shared with you that I bought an inverter generator to use as basically just a power backup if the power happens to go out here. And I also mentioned, to kind of supplement that, I was planning to buy a battery bank or power station, as it's called. That finally did arrive. I've been waiting a couple months for it. It's been on back order. Everything right now with lithium batteries is kind of hard to get your hands on, and the prices are going up. But it arrived. Let me go ahead and get it unboxed, and I'll get back with you guys on setting it up and a few other details about what it's going to do for me and why I chose this particular model. More to come. Well, I did get it unboxed. Everything seems to be there, seems to be undamaged. Right now it's sitting at 34%, so obviously I got to get it charged up. But again, everything seems to be there. I will go ahead and read the owner's manual and probably watch a couple of videos on YouTube. I've never had one of these, so it's all new to me. My plan is to charge it up to about 80% using my Honda generator to make sure that that works just fine. Then I'll charge it from 80 to 100% using my BLUETTI solar panels that I have, just to make sure that that works just fine. But more to come. And of course, the unit comes with all the cables and connections that you should need. For input, you can do AC input, either right from your outlet in your house, or of course from a generator, which is, I'm going to show you that here in a minute or two. But you've got DC input that you can bring from different sources, even charging it from a car via like a cigarette lighter attachment. But more to the point, I'm going to use this for solar. There is a port if you want to add battery expansion. And as far as the outputs, all kinds of outputs. You've got your standard 12 volt, kind of like cigarette lighter style. DC output if needed. I probably won't use that a whole lot. We've got the USB-C, two of those, which is kind of what everything is using now, like cell phones and laptops. The old style USB-A's, got two of those, and then we've got four of the standard 220 volt output for my friends in the US. I'm sure you know this, but we don't use 110 here in Europe. We use 220 or 230. So I will move on to firing up the generator here and see if we can get this thing charged. As far as why I chose to buy this, again, it's purely for battery backup. It can come in useful for other things. For example, we are planning to put some of our peppers and tomatoes into the greenhouse here in the next week or so, And we're still getting some pretty cold nights. I mean, some pretty frosty mornings, and the greenhouse does help to protect a little bit, but it gets pretty cold in there. So where I'm going with it is, in the past, when things would get cold in our greenhouse, I would run a little space heater out into the greenhouse, but I'd have to run an extension cord from our house to the greenhouse. With this, I can just put this right in the greenhouse and plug in the little space heater that should keep our plants warm. No extension cord needed. I'm sure it can be useful for other things, but basically it's just power backup. It is 2400 watts output, 2300 watt hours, whatever that means. Again, a lot of this is new to me. It'll definitely run a fridge, you know, in the house for, I've read up to, depending on the fridge, you know, 16 hours. It'll run other things like heaters if you have a power outage. But as far as why I chose this particular brand, as with my generator, the brand is BLUETTI, by the way. The model is AC200PL. But as with my generator, I'm new to this. I have no experience with it. All I can base my decisions on is the research that I've done, not just on YouTube. You know, I've done a lot of other research and I've talked to people, but a lot of my research was on YouTube. A lot of these off-grid videos that I like to watch, people use these. There's numerous other brands. There's Jackery, there's Anchor, which I think is slightly more expensive than the BLUETTI, and a lot of people say better than the BLUETTI. There's another one, EcoFlow. It's like anything else. Everybody's got an opinion, but based on my research, this BLUETTI was a pretty good name, pretty good reputation, and you know, it should help me get through. You might also be thinking, why to get this power station or battery backup? You just bought the generator. The difference is, for example, if the electricity goes out this summer and I want to keep my fridge running, I have to keep that generator running for the entire amount of time, basically. You know, if the electricity's out for 8 hours, I got to run the generator for 8 hours. Versus this, I can charge, and hopefully from the generator, charge it in 2 hours, fully charged. And then this just sits and powers the fridge for the 8 hours or the 16 hours or however long you need to do. So it's just kind of a redundancy, just to make sure that if there is a power outage or some kind of an emergency situation, I've got what I need. So let's see if we can get this thing charged up. Okay, as you can hear in the background, I do have the generator running. I've got the line in from the generator going into my AC input, and lo and behold, you can see we are charging. We are getting 1227 inbound watts. Looks like it's climbing a little bit. It's already gone from 34% charge to 35. I suspect it won't take too long, but I'll go ahead and let it go. Like I keep saying, I'm going to bring it up to 80%. I'll let you know how long it takes to get it up to 80%. I doubt it's going to use much fuel in the generator, but I'll keep you posted on that as well. Sorry guys, one more thing while it's charging. I forgot to mention, it does have the wireless charging pads on the top. You just set your phone on there. I think most mobile phones allow for wireless charging, so it's got 2 of them. You throw your iPhone or your Samsung or whatever on there and it will charge wirelessly. And there you have it. We are at 80%. It took exactly 54 minutes, less than an hour, 54 minutes to go from 34% charged to 80% charged. Not too shabby. You can see it's also set to something called Eco. There is a setting in here, I think it's called Turbo Charge, where it'll charge even quicker, up to 80%. But it does, I guess, reduce the long-term battery life. So I'm not going to use that turbo mode unless I absolutely have to, but I will go ahead and shut my generator off. I'll shut the fuel off and let the fuel burn out of the carburetor. And we'll move on to the solar next. So here is my solar panels. It's not folded out yet. It kind of folds out. I'll show you that here in a bit. But it is BLUETTI to match the power bank. I'm sure it wasn't necessary to get a BLUETTI solar panel, but I figured I might as well stick with the same brand. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to set it up yet. I really don't know if I want to leave that unit sitting outside. Maybe my first complaint that I might see is, and we'll see, you know, it'd be nice to have a longer cable. There is a bit of an extender that goes into the power bank, or came with the power bank, so I don't know, maybe maximum I can get 2 meters of distance from the panels to the unit, but we will see. I'm sure I can also buy an additional extension for this if I want to make it a little longer, but I'll try to get things set up and be back with you in a bit. Hi guys, and there you have it. These all 4 panels put together, I guess, is 200 watts, so I guess it's 50 watts per panel. I've got it hooked into my DC in, and maybe it's hard to see here. You can see I'm already up to 81%. You can see 156 watts are coming in from the panels. You can see it's a clear skies, so I would call it full sun. I'm not sure if I've got the angle of the panels correct. Admittedly, it was a little bit clunky to set it up. They're kind of chintzy when you set up these little legs, but you can adjust for whatever angle you want. In fact, I think they said 45 is the best angle, so maybe I'll have to change this a little bit. But we've got power coming in. We will see how long it takes to get from the 80% to the 100%. Hopefully the skies stay clear. It'll be a good test for me. And again, I'm gonna have to come up with a better system. It is a bit breezy here today. It's only gonna get windier. I'm worried these panels are gonna flip over in the wind. I really don't like have the unit sitting outside. So as I said earlier, I think I'm gonna have to get a longer extension so I can keep the unit somewhere a little more protected. And maybe I'll have to build something to make these panels you know, a little more solid so they don't blow away in the wind. They're supposed to be pretty durable. They can stay out in the rain. If the wind does blow them over, it's pretty unlikely that it's going to hurt them, but I still don't want to have to deal with that. You can see Pippa over there doesn't know quite what to think about this, but I'll check back in when this is up to 100%. And you can see the inbound watts have dropped below 100, and that's because some clouds have moved in. That happens, and obviously it has a big effect on the solar power that's coming in. It's been about 15 minutes since I hooked it up, maybe 20. You see we've gained 4%, so it's not too bad. But now that the clouds are starting to roll in, it should slow down. I've also read and heard that charging from 80 to 100% takes longer than, for example, from 60 to 80. Something about that top end, or that top percentage of the battery, is harder to charge or takes longer. We'll see. Obviously doing it via the Honda generator was quick, really quick, and it didn't take much fuel at all because, you know, the generator didn't run. So, you know, I was hoping to primarily just use this solar to charge the power station and just use the generator when I had to, or in the winter. But we'll see. I'll have to come up with a better system, I think, and it should work depending on how much sun we get. It's not looking real good. There's plenty of blue sky out there, but there's also I'd call it mostly cloudy on the way. We will see. I'll keep you posted. Well, we are up to 93%, and I've had it hooked up to solar for 100 minutes, or 1 hour and 40 minutes. I'm probably going to disconnect it now. I did a little more reading and research on it. They recommend that you do not charge these things all the way to 100% unless it's going to be stored for a long time, or you're going to drain it the next day by using it on whatever. But for the purposes of what I'm doing, I probably shouldn't take it to 100%. It's a little bit like my iPhone. It has changed its own settings where it will not charge to 100%. It stops at 80%. Something to do with the lithium batteries and how the overall life expectancy of those batteries is affected if you do charge them all the way to 100. So I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. More to come on actually using it on things. Hi guys, you can see we're still at 93% charged from yesterday, and now I'm going to kind of give it a load test. I've already tested some devices on it, but I'm going to try to give it a real load test by running this fan here. Let me get this over here, maybe you can see it better, but I'll go ahead and power up the AC. No, that's DC, but I'll turn that on too. So we've got DC and AC both turned on, so I should be able to plug this in. And we could hear the beep. And we've got fan. So you can see the fan obviously doesn't draw a whole lot. It's drawing just over 40 watts right now. So that's not a big load at all. I'm sure we could run that fan all day, probably 16, 24 hours without draining the battery. But I'll give it a real test with the grinder, and the reason I'm using the grinder, even though my wife probably isn't crazy about me running the grinder in the house, is these grinders do pull a lot of power in watts and volts, etc. So let me go ahead and plug that in and just show you that we can run things in parallel, and it really doesn't seem to do much. And just for grins, I'll throw my phone on the DC wireless charger on the top. That's going. So let's go ahead and fire the grinder up. We're going to see the voltage start really drawing. So everything worked, no problems, no kickouts. I'm sure you couldn't see it on the camera, but it was definitely drawing quite a few, I think it said 400 or 500 watts with the grinder on and the fan and the phone. The other thing I think I've been focusing on is that I'm primarily going to use this as backup power for when the power goes out or emergency situations. But obviously this thing would be pretty handy if you go camping or if you have a camper. I'm sure it could power everything you need for your entire camping trip without charging. And if you have the solar panels, which I do, you can charge it while you use it, which is another nice feature. And to close things out, here's just some rough estimates of charging time via, some of the different options for charging, and approximate run times with using or plugging devices in. And here's also a few interesting technical tidbits. I won't read all these, but you can see the life cycles on the battery, 3,000 plus cycles, which means you can drain it and charge it 3,000 or more times before the battery has kind of given out. Not sure if that's good or bad, but seems pretty impressive to me. And here are also a couple interesting statistics. One, I forgot to mention throughout the video, it is a bit heavy. It's 28, nearly 29 kilograms, which is the equivalent of 63.5 pounds. So it's a heavy thing to move around, but it's got some strong handles on the top. One person can do it, but it's easier with two people, or I have a little cart that I can put it on. Some of the other interesting facts is the charging temperature. You're not supposed to, or it won't take a charge if the air temperature is less than freezing or 0 Celsius. You can use it or discharge or plug things into it all the way down to -4 in Fahrenheit, up to 104 plus, which I don't think we have any danger of the 104, but I can see trying to use this thing in colder temperatures than -4. Apparently you're going to have a problem. I've seen this in some of the off-grid videos that I watch, like in Alaska and Canada. Same thing with storage. You know, it's pretty tolerant of a wide range of temperatures, but you got to be careful. Obviously, don't store it too cold or too hot. And that's about it for my intro or my sharing of my power station or battery bank, whatever you want to call it. I'll try to keep you posted if I have any problems or how well it works, but I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me. Talk to you soon.